as spawning in the bottom left corner. Give it up for Team Envy's Creator. And his opponent on the other side of the map for the Shopify Rebellion. Give it up for BYUN. And, you know, I think when you were thinking about the vetoes here, obviously Creator tried to get rid of kind of those more aggressive maps. Like, he got rid of Beckett, which kind of tells me that he wants to avoid those kind of situations where he's stuck in a choke point style of map where he can have a lot of issue dealing with these kind of siege tank pushes, which have become a little bit more common in this matchup. The problem is, with both Oxide and Beckett in a best of 5, you kind of have to pick the lesser of two evils. You know, because both of them have some beautiful tank positioning, especially on the third base. You can see kind of like right here behind these rocks. If you plant a medevac right there, you just get the most beautiful position to crush through a third Nexus. Which, I mean, if you're a Protoss player, you probably are going to have down very, very early. But in BYUN's case, we do see he is going for a bit of an aggressive strategy here. He's got the 3 racks coming in. And now kind of taking a look at what Creator has seen. He hasn't even been up the ramp yet. But already, he has the perfect counter to this build order. Because while there will be a lot of bio production, while there will be, you know, some faster stim timing, some faster kind of early game upgrades for the Terran player, there's not going to be really any splash damage to deal with the Stalkers, which are going to be coming across. There's not really going to be any Ravens, any sort of detection, any sort of healing in terms of those medevacs, which just makes this a very dangerous position here for BYUN. And sometimes you do see some Terran players kind of decide to go with a faster third base off the back of this. It kind of depends on who they're playing against. But yeah, look at that. We got the additional gateways coming in. So far, it's just 3. So we do need to keep an eye on if he does decide to throw down a 4th or a 5th. And honestly, it kind of looks like he's just going to use this to put on some light pressure off of 3 gateways. And he's already going to have his 3rd Nexus up. So if he can just kind of get some good pickoffs, do a little bit of damage, delay the SCV mining, he's going to be in a fantastic position here. But, you know, there is a little bit of a window here for BYUN to move across the map. And it looks like he's going to try and hit that timing. As we do see Creator just getting ready to intercept these units. Oh no, a little bit of a spike right there. But the blink has begun as he gets one of the Marauders very early on. And that is kind of the linchpin of this attack for BYUN. No stims coming out just yet. He needs to save those until he knows he can take an engagement with this army. First one comes in, focus firing down the shield battery, and now it is just pure Stalkers coming on in. While they are getting pretty low, some good micro will clean this up. And now BYUN, he's equal on the worker count, but that engagement, very favoring there for Creator. So now BYUN is going to have to slow his game plan down just a bit in order to kind of stay alive. You can't really afford to send out huge swaths of units anymore. And, I mean, just look at this. With how late the starport is, any stim is going to be absolutely lethal. To be completely honest, I don't even really like this additional move out that we see from him. I can say that the Marines on the left side might be a good little trigger to kind of keep the army back towards the natural, but it looks like Creator is going to see this. BYUN catches a glimpse of the Warp Prism, but the question is, did he actually see it? Was he paying attention as the Marine's going to stim in, forcing an additional warp in, and oh my goodness, BYUN going to make his way in. Already stimming quite heavily here. Remember, there's no medevac support. And now Creator should be able to kind of push this back. He's just got to be careful as to where he engages in. But yeah, this is going to get cleaned up. A little bit of good blink micro as well. Just going to keep those stalkers alive. And now he's on the counteroffensive. And BYUN doesn't really have a ton back at home. The army supply here can be very misleading, as he does have a good count of marauders. But charge is done. Those +1 upgrades are coming in. Additional gateways coming on down, and losing the third base is going to stifle the economy. At this point, the Terran wants to be on 3 bases. He wants to be out on the map. And Creator is never going to let him get back to that situation. He has full map control for the time being. Even going to get another kill on that CC. Just going to slow down the economy even more before getting out. So now BYUN is not dead by any stretch of the imagination, but he's stuck on those 2 bases. He doesn't have a lot of energy on these orbitals either. So these DTs are going to be able to get in there and just do massive amounts of damage. Oh my goodness. This is just getting bad from bad to worse for BYUN, because that missile turret not going to go down. He only will have 1 scan available to him, and the SCVs are falling like flies. Creator off to a very, very strong start in this series. And now BYUN recognizes the fact that he does need to do something. He will potentially try and move out on the map here just a little bit. He's got to get rid of some of that pressure just in any way he can. And there is his response. A big old doom drop heading straight for the main base. So what do we have for Creator here? We don't have the army supply lead, but he does have a ton of splash units available to him. Just that AoE versus pretty much a pure bio army without any real support. You can argue that the Widow Mines are here, but in the position that BYUN is trying to get into with this Doom Drop, it's very susceptible to that friendly fire damage. Especially as the Zealots can just charge in and kind of send that damage back into BYUN's own forces. BYUN, though, trying to separate the third and the natural here. Inching his way forward, but sacking a few units to get it done. A couple of scans being utilized. We did have a DT coming over here, getting 1 SCV. And now BYUN just trying to open up an escape path here. Not going to be able to do so just yet, as Creator just doing what he can to keep this army completely uncomfortable. So honestly, as long as Creator kind of just builds up a little bit, keeps trading efficiently, hold that thought though, as the Colossus is getting very low. yeah, I think Creator should be perfectly fine. He did just lose the Archons, though, which can be a big deal. But in the end of the day, even with the reinforcements, I think there is just enough here for Creator to kind of push this down. BYUN's pretty much all in at this point. Nice win of mine connection there, though. Yeah, fourth base already up and operational. We kind of take a look. BYUN not fully mining off his third. He just really doesn't have the economy that he wants. Obviously, BYUN is one of those kind of players where once you give him that kind of freedom to roam around, that freedom to keep the pressure on, it's a momentum that he never really gets rid of. So just the fact that Creator has kept him on the back foot, has stopped these pushes across the map, just really giving him that big edge. And now he's on +2 attack, adding on the armor upgrades, and he is pushing in, looking for the win. SCV's already being pulled into this army, and that is going to be GG. We do see that little bit of a probe scout coming on in. Just going to be looking to get any sort of additional information. Obviously, this early on, you're not looking for tech. You're not looking for anything other than the fact that this first Rax is exactly where it's supposed to be. And, you know, that doesn't tell you a ton, because there could be a second rack somewhere. He could be pumping out, like, he could have one here and just have a couple of additional Reapers being brought out to be a little bit more aggressive. But honestly, at this level, that's not going to be as likely. So just going to try and deny that CC for as long as possible before going on home, where he has a Nexus down and a Cybernetics core. So he's feeling pretty. He's feeling good. And yeah, from there, we're kind of just wait for a little bit while these guys kind of build up. As we do see BYUN once again going to be going for the 3 racks, I believe, with a very fast tech lab, which is going to go into... Okay. I think I know exactly what he's doing here. As this Reaper going to be jumping around looking for some additional kills. So far, getting very close, but some good pulls by Creator. Just going to keep those alive. Did he see? He did not see the Twilight Council. So that is a pretty big tell for him. Creator kind of giving his number, getting his number in the last game with that Twilight Council. So this time he's going to look to hit just a little bit earlier. He's going to have, I believe, 2 Marauders and 1 Marine with this push. And this is going very old school for BYUN. He was doing this back in 2016 before he left for the military. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with it is the fact that shield batteries now exist. So that kind of takes a little bit of the potency out of this. But as the Reaper comes in, he gets 2 kills, keeps the Stalker away. But he gets the Scout. He sees that Blink is being chronoed out very heavily here. But here we go. And as this rush is going down, make sure you guys do check out the Match Reno page as well. Adds that 50 cents to the prize pool for absolutely free. And shows these players that you guys care and you want to see more StarCraft 2 action. These Marauders, though, they've seen enough action for today. They're going to go home, maybe get out of their suits, and just relax for a bit before the next big chaos starts. So for Creator, this time we do see a little bit of a difference as well. He has not added on the Robo facility. So what does that mean? Well, it means there's not going to be really any aggression coming out of him. He's already got Blink, and he is going to send the Stalkers out, kind of just be a little bit of a presence on the map. He's not really going to look to get into the base at any point, but they're just going to kind of be there, wait for any sort of push out, and go for some cheeky little pickoffs here. Maybe get a Marauder or two, a couple of Marines, and just slow down the push. That's all he could really ask for with him. Just gotta be careful not to lose them, because you do have Concussive Shell on those Marauders. One Wind Mine is gonna get dropped. Creator on top of that, already sacking a probe for it. He is paying attention here as well, trying to get as much value as possible. But that will go down. And as the Stalker is getting ready to consolidate here, he does have the shield batters in position. Not a ton of healing energy either with this. One good blink back doesn't get the Marauder, but there are some force fields available to him. Oh, moving a little bit too far forward with the sentries. Those are some nice pickoffs before he gets out of there. And it looks like BYUN's gonna want to keep kind of trying to trade out in this position, as he is reinforcing it with some additional units. Now, for Creator's case, he is sticking with primarily gateway tech for the time being. He did throw down that facility, but there's no bay with it. So basically that just means that there's not going to be any disruptors, not going to be any colossi. So again, it's just pretty much Stalker Zealot for the time being. Maybe going to add in some Immortals there for some extra damage output. But BYUN now trying to do what BYUN does best, some multi-prong harassment. As one side goes in, the other medevac should probably should have kind of stayed near the main base of Creator, just so he can kind of get that 1-2 win and keep some of the Stalkers at home. But you know what? This is BYUN. I can't really question his decisions, because he certainly does know better than most of the people in chat. Now, I like this. Creator going to do a little bit of a 1-2 punch of his own. Gets the War Prism in there. Forces a big lift up from BYUN to try and hold on here. But that is a terrifying warp in. As the Stalker's going to be making their way in. They have started their engagement. The Widow Mines not really being super effective here. All the SCVs being pulled to try and stop the Zealots. But this is still not cleaned up in the main base either. I think the War Prism, yeah, it's still alive. 18 workers going down. This is absolute carnage here for BYUN to deal with. And even though he's starting to clean it up, that was a horrendous amount of damage. I think he just made up for it though, killing off that Warp Prism. So now BYUN kind of recognizes the fact that he needs to get a little bit of counter damage in, and this is probably the best time to do so, because Creator, he did expend quite a bit of that army into that attack, so he did get a lot of SCVs, but mules are kind of making up the difference a little bit here. So BYUN coming on in, he's gonna find a little position where he can kind of annoy Creator. He shouldn't really be able to get a ton done here, especially if Creator does stay in this little position. But the Immortal going down very, very quickly. And now we do have Storm available. First one, get some big connections on this army, but the Marauders are just tanking all of that damage. The fourth and third storm, though, are the killing blows here. And now BYUN has to retreat. Creator taking that army supply lead. Excuse me, just the overall supply lead in just a second here, as he will be morphing in a couple of additional units. Now, keep in mind his immortal production did slow down just a little bit. He doesn't really have any additional ones. But one big thing that he does have is those storms, is those High Templar, with BYUN kind of falling behind because his Ghost Academy is so far behind where you need to be. And again, that just comes down to, because of Creator doing these sort of attacks, it's just absolutely insane that BYUN has to play such a big game of catch-up. He's lost all forward momentum. Okay, a nice connection onto the Warp Prism will make that a little bit less useful, which is always fantastic. It means he doesn't have to worry about it as much. But now the Widow Mines are starting to get in here. They're doing a little bit better damage for workers in general, but you're going to need a lot more than that. And a lot more is what he is sending across the map. Just got to keep that pressure up. Got to keep trading out versus these expensive gateway units. If you can get a couple of these Archons, that'd be fantastic as well. Huge storm going to go down, but the Marauders once again just tanking that damage. 22 workers are now in the grave. And that does mean we are back on equal bases, as BYUN going up to a fourth of his own. I mean, this is what looked to be a good situation for him, is starting to kind of crush him a little bit. He will be able to clean this up eventually, but you just have to be so careful with that Warp Prism. And I don't think he really has enough energy on some of those High Templar to even storm. And yeah, the good news for BYUN, he stays safe. He gets out of there. And with that, he's just going to trade out quite a bit. A big storm going down, cleaning up the rest of the army. But he just retreats back. He gets the reinforcements. Now he has those EMPs available to him. The upgrades are going to start to equalize here. 2-2 versus 2-1. And now, I mean, BYUN's putting himself in a much better position. I just really hope that he doesn't overextend into this army. Like, especially there. Don't fight into an acceleration zone, kids. It's like the opposite of a school zone. Everything is way too fast. Now kind of taking a look at the production tab. That's telling a huge story, as Creator trying to force his way up that ramp. One storm going down, not really hitting a whole lot here. But Creator is not making anything. He's not dropping down that fourth base. He's not really able to afford much other than just continuously pumping out these additional zealots and try to crash his way through. And it looks like BYUN is just taking way too good of a trade here, crushing through those zealots in the front. The Archon goes down, and that is going to be it. And now 3 games in, we do have the kind of ebb and flow that you're kind of expecting. This is a decently sizable prize pool. It is a little bit of a bigger event, so you can't kind of just phone it in and do standard ladder builds anymore, because you do want to kind of get a bigger piece of that pie. And we do see BYUN kind of going for what he's known for, relying on these heavy micro builds. He's kind of getting delayed a little bit in terms of getting his third base down, in terms of getting kind of his tech up. He's been going for a, I want to say, normal thing for him. He's trying to be aggressive, but Creator is kind of just dialing it in, recognizing the fact that, of course, this is coming his way. So he's getting prepared. He's setting up these walls to kind of give himself a better angle to go in from. He's keeping himself safe while also still being a little bit aggressive to kind of keep BYUN off his toes. Because once BYUN kind of gets up to that favorable Terran economy, that +3, or that 3 base, 3 CC, 5 racks, 7 racks, 20 racks, kind of deal, he's just really hard to deal with, especially when we're talking about creator who in this series has gone for these very heavy gateway styles. Now the Adept is going to come in here. The Marines are just very slightly delayed, but he will be able to get a little bit of a denial on this CC for just a bit, killing the SCV. And that is a pretty big deal because you can see BYUN instantly dropping the supply depot. He needs his build order to stay crisp, so he couldn't wait a couple of additional seconds to get that CC up. Now we see Creator. He's got the Stargate already done. The Oracle is ready to go, making its way across the map with the 3 Adepts. This is actually a little bit difficult for BYUN because he's trying to get these pickoffs. He's being very forward with these Marines. You really can't afford to do that versus this build out of Creator. I do like the Widowmine placement, but now he's going for the drop. Yeah, this has the potential to do quite a bit of damage here, but the Marines actually in high enough number to get rid of the Adepts. And now they're going to have to head on back. The SCVs having to be pulled, so that is a lot of lost mining time for BYUN. But you got to be careful as Creator not to lose this first Oracle. A little bit of a citizen's arrest right there. Now Creator really quick on the trigger there, just making sure that he has that Phoenix to keep himself safe from the medevac. Looks like he did get 1 kill on that Widowmine. Ooh, the Phoenix getting very, very low, but only 2 probes going down during all of that. I gotta say that's worth it, as he does get the medevac, and these Widowmines, they're gonna try and waddle around, but they're probably not going home anytime soon. I feel like I heard one burrow, but I think that did die to the stalkers there. I'm mixing up my S's. I promise I'm not drunk. It's just very early in the morning. But now we see the situation. Creator is already transitioning into Blink. So he's getting a nice healthy stalker count up to allow himself the ability to kind of stay out on the map in these raised positions to slow down any chance of BYUN moving across. That's all you want to do with these stalkers. You don't necessarily want to go for any kills in the main base. You don't want to sacrifice them. You just want them for the slowdowns. Now double forge as well, so Creator getting a little bit greedy with some of these guys going straight in, getting a kill on the bunker, getting a little bit low on the health, but he will be able to blink back and regenerate some of those shields. I don't like that fully because you can kind of see he was trying to do 2 things at once. If this Oracle was in there while all of that was going on, he would have gotten a lot more damage. But for that kind of investment, he's only got 6 SCVs. And now Stim, almost complete. Plenty of Marauders in the backfield. Yeah, these Stalkers are just going to be playing with fire. Although might have just hit a very nice window right there, forcing BYUN to come home. before getting the recall. Okay. So, was that great? No. Was it decent? Yeah. It slows BYUN down just a little bit. It kind of stops some of that momentum. Oracle dies. Not great. But now this drop from BYUN is going to be a couple of seconds delayed. There's going to be some additional warp gates here, so he will have those warp-ins available to defend. Looks like he is a little bit out of position, so BYUN will be able to get some of those units in. If he wants to, he can focus fire down the upgrades. Might get one or two of them. Instead, going to try and fight the Zealots and be forced to retreat. On the flip side of that, we do have the secondary attack ready to roll, but now Creator kind of consolidating his forces, getting some additional ones in the main base. He's in two places at once. He's transitioning into Storm Archon, and he'll be able to deflect these smaller attack waves from the Terran player. Here we go. BYUN stimming in. The shield battery is popped. The main base is under threat, but a couple of stalkers do shut that down. Looks like that medevac getting very close to being sniped. And now Creator kind of just playing around with this very heavy gateway army. Being a little bit too loose there. Losing one of the stalkers for absolutely free as he sends a small little zealot run by with the War Prism to hunt down these additional units for BYUN. So now Creator looking for a little bit of an angle with most of BYUN's army away. It's time for the Stalkers to play. Gets a couple of very quick pickoffs here, almost getting the medevac. And with all of these forces consolidated, did he? No, he still has the Warp Prism, so... Oh my goodness, this could be very lethal here, since BYUN is a little bit out of position. I'm gonna have to engage into this. The Zealots trying to charge in. But not going to be able to get on top of the army just yet. Some good pulls, making sure he doesn't lose too many of them to the to the Widow Mines, rather. Another big warp in here. A nice concave at the top, forcing BYUN to the low ground. SCVs are pulled as well to try and mitigate some of that damage. The Marauders doing what they can, but with 15 workers going down. Oh man, this is just very dicey for BYUN. Even if he does clean this up, that is a huge obstacle to overcome. I mean, mules are pretty good, but they're not like the game-ending comeback mechanic that you can kind of think they are. Taking a look at the units lost tab as well, 35 going down in this game. So again, we come to this situation where BYUN has lost all momentum. He's not out on the map. He is not pushing his opponent, who is going up to a fourth base, and he is just forced into this position where he has to defend with just Marine Marauder. Not even that many Widow Mines left over here. So Creator just building up a bit of a lead in terms of that economy, a big force field as well. Trapping some of those SCVs. The third base out of position. And now Creator is kind of just baiting him into this concave. He doesn't need to attack into this. Like, he just needs to kind of force BYUN to keep taking bad trades. Now, BYUN does get an Archon right there, which is great. But in terms of those upgrades, look at that. +3 on the way to the 1-1 of BYUN. He is stuck with what he has for a very, very long time. No EMPs, no again, just no support, really. Those medevacs are running out of energy. Look at that, Creator's just being cheeky. 1 Archon. That is literally not that expensive for him. I agree, Storm would be absolutely insane. Creator has heard you. As he drops down the Storm on his Templar Archives, just chrono boosting that out, building up some energy on these High Templar as well. I gotta say, BYUN, with how far behind he is in terms of that tech, he's gonna have to take some very good engagements and kind of put the pressure on very, very soon. Now this is the thing as well, Creator has these little bits of scouting all over the map, so any sort of move out from BYUN is going to be spotted almost instantaneously. Oh my god, this is a fully maxed out Protoss army versus the 169 supply of BYUN first Storm. Gets a little bit of a whiff there. Does soften up some of those Widow Mines though, which is going to allow the Zealots to come in. And now the third base pretty much forfeit at this point. That's going to be more SCVs lost. Oh my god, that is a huge choke point for BYUN. He takes a huge Storm. And now it's looking really, really bad for the Red Terran player. As he's trying to fight desperately to keep that ramp. He needs to keep the high ground here in order to stay effective. Looks like he does have a couple of EMPs available to him. But as we can kind of see, those +3 upgrades really starting to pay in dividends for Creator. He's just not taking a hell of a lot of damage on this army. First EMP going down. But oh my goodness, the Storm is pretty darn good. Trying to get a good concave here, but the Stalker's just going to blink right on top of this. Grabbing a medevac, grabbing a couple of additional Marauders. The SCVs are pulled to try and defend. On the other side of the map, looks like a small Widow Mine drop might have gone in there, gotten a couple of probes. But at the end of the day, is this army enough? BYUN below 100 supply. And with some more SCVs going down, Creator stims his way in. Down here in the bottom position, you can see that number is a little bit lower than it should be. He's feeling rebellious, which is great because he's part of the rebellion. Give it up for BYUN. And his opponent, up here in the top left, he is 1 map away from victory for Team Envy. Looking at you, Creator. So now Creator, he hasn't been on the other side of the map just yet. The first probe going to be going in the wrong direction. So he will not really get to the base until very, very late, meaning that that first Rax is going to be complete, and he's going to start pumping out those Marines. Now, with that, we should see the SCV probably throw a bunker down just out of sight, as we do see that kind of panic zealot coming on in to try and hold on with a little bit of fancy micro. BYUN should be able to kind of tear that around. The SCV getting a little bit of a poke and prod here, but now the probes are pulled. He has recognized how bad this situation can be for him, but he needs to get the SCV. Already though, we do see him focus firing down the Zealot when he can. Gets his first kill, first blood of the game. And now it is a big old cat and mouse situation here. Another SCV was brought in. Looks like that bunker might actually finish. It's all going to come down to kind of where that SCV pops out of. And yeah, that's finished. Yes, you are correct, Cynical Death. Sorry about that. But yeah, the bunker is finished. So this base is pretty much gone. The SCVs will be able to repair that for days against small numbers of stalkers. And yeah, it looks like Creator's just trying to kind of do what he can. But even he recognizes he's not going to be able to save that. Just kind of poking and prodding. But yeah, no. Not in this game. So obviously this is going to prompt him to just drop down those additional gateways. We might see a robo facility come on down soon, because I think from here you might need a warp prism to kind of get out of this position. Ooh, a little bit sloppy right there as BYUN ties it up. Up here in the top left position, he's looking to close it out. Give it up for the Shopify Rebellions. BYUN. And down here in the bottom of the right, he's got an ace in the hole. Let's see what he does. For Team NV, give it up for Creator. And I'm loving it. We do have the parting opening here from Creator. Just going to drop down that additional gateway here. Get a Zealot, get those Adepts, get the Stalkers, and just going to look to punch BYUN's teeth in, saying, how dare you proxy me? I am the one who proxies. Now, to BYUN's credit, he will have that first Marine out. He's going for the bit of a safer opening. Getting that faster factory because he did get both of the refineries down. And with that, he's also going to be able to just pump out the Marines because he does have that reactor down on the racks as well. Gets insta-scouted here. So he's just going to drop down a bunker and kind of turtle up for a little bit, which is kind of the perfect way to counter this, you know? You don't really need to move out early on as the Terran player. Not until you have at least one medevac. Now the Adept going to be just kind of shading around. The supply depot wall is up. The bunker is finished as well, so the Marine has a happy little home. Behind this, Creator did kind of delay his Nexus as well. So, going to be a little bit slower to get up to an economy game behind it. He's going to go for DTs, though. You know, this isn't really going to be an economy sort of game. This is going to be the see what sticks. This is where he kind of channels his inner Haas. And just throws everything in the kitchen sink at BYUN. I'm really worried, though. For the simple reason as... yeah. That. The Hellions going to be moving across where there's absolutely nothing in Creator's own main base. He is focused so heavily out here on the front lines that he just doesn't have anything to defend this. I think BYUN is just threading the needle as well. Oh my goodness. Creator is just getting so unlucky with these scouts here. BYUN sees the Dark Shrine. So he's going to have a Raven. He's going to have siege tanks. And now there's no shield battery in the main base. This might be GG. 8 workers already going down. The Stalker's doing what they can, but a hot pickup here. Gonna take him straight to the natural. Oh my god, those probes are so lined up as well. It does take 3 Hellions to one-shot, but a little bit of fancy footwork. Gonna get a couple of extra. 14 workers going down. Now the Hail Mary really comes out for Creator. He's got to get some serious damage in. I just don't think he can do it. And that's not saying anything bad against Creator. I just think BYUN has his number dialed in. Yeah, there's like a 20% chance that this works. The question is, how heavily is he going to commit to it is the big thing. He's only got 2 so far. And they are a little bit of a glass cannon. So, with that, I mean, Creator's probably just shaking his head right now. Oh my god, the Banshee gonna scout this out. Sees that the Archons are the next logical step. Oh my goodness. I don't know really what else to say about this point in the game. BYUN isn't necessarily fully turtling up, but he is in such a good defensive position that he could just say, you know what? I don't need to kill you. You're on 2 bases. You're pretty much going all in with these additional gateways. I can just sit back in my base and wait for you to mess up. And he does mess up a little bit again as the Banshee going in for some additional kills. 5 workers so far. The Archon being brought home to defend, but he is so far out of position with it. Oh my goodness, this Banshee is an absolute legend. So now, BYUN, he hasn't thrown down a 3rd base yet. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. As his upgrades start to kick in, that +1, that combat shield, that stim pack. Oh, Creator going for a little bit of a double Warp Prism here. The Adepts going to make their way in, though. I think the wall is complete, however. Yeah, that was a fool's errand, essentially. The Archon's going to dive right on top of this, but one of the Warp Prisms does have a unit trapped inside in limbo. The warping is canceled, and both Warp Prisms going down. GG.